Hi everyone, today we're talking about the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered Beginner's Box. Ooh, that's a mouthful. If you're looking for an alternative to D&D in a box, this might be just the perfect fit for you. So what makes this box stand out? Let's take a look. Before I get in, I want to disclose that Paizo kindly sent us this copy for review, but our thoughts and opinions are completely our own. Right off the bat, the unboxing experience is great. There's not a lot of extra room in this box, so things aren't going to bang around and get bent out of shape, and you're also not taking up space on your shelves with just air. When you open the box, you're immediately greeted by a set of dice and some token bases. Then you get this read this first handout right on top. Gives you a quick overview of what to do next, and I love that it has guidance on whether you're starting solo or already have a group of friends ready to go. I think this is really great as you may have a group of friends who want to try this out, but I know so many people who've wanted to play tabletop role-playing games have needed to convince their friends to try it out. So being able to play it just yourself is a great way to dip your toe in and then be able to either find a group or form one. You can try it out and then from experience let your friends know. I think you would really like this because fill in the blank. Now I want to highlight the reference cards that are in this box. On the back, they've got all the conditions you might need to reference during the game. And on the front, it breaks down the basics, like what to do on your turn, how to make checks, all the good stuff. And they even include some tokens for your actions and reactions that you can set right on the reference card to keep track. I think these reference cards are really excellent for beginners, but even as an experienced player, I might end up pulling these out of the box to use in my other games just to make it easier on myself, tracking how many actions I've taken and especially reactions. Because I can't tell you how many times I either forget I have reactions, or if we're in a longer combat round, I'll forget if I've already used my reaction and then I'm sitting there going, did I do it this turn or last turn? If you don't want to create your own character, more on character creation in a moment, maybe you just want to jump straight into the adventure. There are 4 pre-made character sheets included, and each one comes with a quick play this class if you want to blurb to help you find the class that suits you best. I really like this blurb. A similar one is in the handbook before each class. Again, it's a really great detail, especially for people who are absolutely brand new to tabletop role-playing games and the genre, and aren't coming in with any preconceived notions to base their decisions off of. Also great for people who are experienced to get an idea of what does this class do in Pathfinder? The character sheets are clear and easy to understand, which is great for new players. Even for us neurodivergent folk, the layout is pretty good. It's not too busy. It's a lot more accessible than I honestly was expecting. The character sheets were a significant complaint of mine for Pathfinder 2nd Edition when it first came out, and Paizo has clearly taken a lot of people's feedback and made a much better character sheet for the remastered. Now, it's still a pretty dense character sheet because there's a lot of different mechanics and rules that you need, but it's all here, and I think it's a lot easier to understand. I also really like that they have on the front and back the guide to the dice, which match the color of the dice included in the beginner kit. That's a really nice touch. It makes it a lot easier to be like, okay, roll a D10. Okay, which one is it? Instead, you can just say, roll the yellow one or roll the blue one, whatever color dice it is. Will help you remember a lot more. That's a trick that I know a few other friends who've taught RPGs, especially to kids, go out and get a dice set that each die is a different color. It just makes it a lot easier to pick up and learn. It's one more way to make things easier. All right, now let's talk about the beginner's player handbook. It starts with a solo adventure that's more choose your own adventure book and gradually introduces mechanics like ability checks, attacks, and saving throws. I think it's a really great way to ease new players into the game without overwhelming them with rules right off the bat. You can jump in and play without needing to read all of these rules to get an idea of what the game's like. Now, if you're feeling adventurous and want to create your own character, the Hero's Handbook walks you through the process step by step. Plus, they give you 6 blank character sheets to get started. I love the artwork at the beginning of the character creation, just a nice little touch. Now you can create one of 4 classes: cleric, fighter, rogue, or wizard, and you can choose from 3 ancestries: dwarf, elf, or human. Now, I might know what you're thinking. Why only 4 classes and 3 ancestries? Well, I think they may have done this to keep it simple to avoid overwhelming new players, and because these are probably perfect for the included adventure. Honestly, they're kind of classic staples that we all know and love. It gives you 2 different kinds of magic casters. There's the classic fighter and then the classic sneaky rogue. I would have liked to have seen more options, especially for ancestries, but it is a beginner's box, so you're not going to have all the rules for the full game in here. For that, you got to go pick up the full rule book. Oh, and here's something else cool. Your character can level up to all the way to level 3, and then it will also transition seamlessly to the full Pathfinder rule set, which means you can keep the adventure going for a few levels before needing to pick up the full rule set. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our patrons, especially Arvi. With the support of our patrons, we're able to make these videos and keep the lights on. So if you are enjoying our videos, please consider heading on over to patreon.com/rollforinitiative and check out the perks of being a patron. And at very least, make sure you're subscribed. Okay, let's talk about the rules. The rules in the beginner box cover all the basics to run a campaign and play in it. The characters created here transition seamlessly to the full rule set if you want to keep the adventure going. Now, the ways the rules are written makes them easy to understand with clear explanations of actions and all of the gameplay elements. Again, this is a really great introduction rule set because it explains all the different kinds of parts of a tabletop role-playing game, as well as how Pathfinder handles these mechanics. I will say if you're not familiar with Pathfinder at all, it is on the crunchier side of the rules. And it can be a little complex, but I think the way that they're presented in this beginner box makes them very approachable and easy to understand thanks to the way they're written. Now, I haven't done a full side-by-side look at the rules, but they seem to be almost all the same. The only real change is the skill list is a bit reduced and simplified compared to the full game. Other than that, it seems to be mostly just giving you perhaps a simplified or pared down set of the rules. Like, you don't have every single spell available to a wizard. You only have level 1 through 3, and even at that, it is a simplified spell list, which I think is good for a beginner's box. It gives you some options and variety without being overwhelming. And for those quick references, they've even got rules for being knocked out and other quick reference rules right on the back cover. Very handy. Now, for those who want to try their hand at being a game master, the Game Master's Guide is packed with tips and advice. It does start with the adventure, so you can dive right in, but I would actually highly recommend starting with Chapter 2, Game Mastering. It's filled with a lot of really great advice on not just running this adventure, but also how to be a great GM in general. They even have chapters on building encounters, understanding the setting, creating environments, and creating, creatures and adventures beyond the included one. The included adventure is an excellent introduction to the world of Pathfinder Galarian and guides the game master through running the game similar to how the solo adventure kind of introduces the idea of playing in a game. It starts out fairly simple and then adds complexities as you go, which I think is great for both the game master and the players. I also like that there are breakouts for the game master, kind of reminding them how certain parts of the game are played when they come up in the adventure, so you're not needing to either reference the Hero's Handbook or further into the Game Master book. And they have the monster stat blocks included in the adventure, so you don't have to flip to the bestiary chapter and then back to the adventure. Speaking of the bestiary, it has all the creatures you need for the included adventure, plus a few extra. I really like this. It gives you some great options if you want to keep your campaign going or create your own adventures after you finish the beginner content. As well as, perhaps you can also, maybe swap out a monster, say, if you have somebody who has, isn't interested in playing against spiders for whatever reason, you could swap a different monster out. I also really like that they include pawns in this box. They're perfect for using with the included map and grid for encounters. Plus, they have, as I mentioned before, they have those tokens to track your actions. These are a really nice quality. I like the artwork on them, and there's a little bit of variety in the artwork, and the included bases are very easy to swap the tokens in and out. Plus, they give you enough bases that I feel like you have plenty for at least one encounter, possibly two, to kind of be prepped for the session ready to go. And even if you aren't prepped, it takes like half a second to put them together. And for $45, you're getting everything you need to play in this box. I think that's a really good value, as, you know, the included adventure, depending on how long your sessions are and how quickly you move through them. Like, if you meet once a week, you'll probably be playing it for a month or two, maybe even longer. And then you can also, you know, as a game master, create your own adventures afterwards. You don't have to go pick out the full rule set just to continue. It gives you some of those skills to be able to create on your own before you necessarily need to jump to the full rule set or pick up supplemental books or extra adventures. Overall, the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered Beginner Box, still a mouthful, is an excellent way to introduce new players to the world of tabletop RPGs. Whether you're teaching kids or adults who are new to playing tabletop role-playing games, or even veterans of other RPGs who are new to Pathfinder, I think this box is going to give you everything you need to get started. It's got the rules, the tools, and the perfect stepping stone into the rich world of Golarion. Have you picked up the beginner box? What are your thoughts? And if you haven't checked it out, is this something that you think you would be interested in? I'm also curious if you had the original 2nd edition beginner box, if you happen to know the differences between this and the new remastered, other than just adjusting to the remastered rules. I never actually got into the initial beginner's box for 2nd edition, so I'm curious. Thanks for joining me today on this dive into the Pathfinder Beginner Box. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. All right, I'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative. Bye!